Okay, we're live now.
Yahoo!
Sup? Oh man, what's this? Giant Tabby and ZenNoKiseki in the same room? What is this, a crossover episode?
The most ambitious crossover in history.
Hell yeah. How are you doing, Zen? It's good to see you.
It is good to be here. I'm doing well. How about you? How about you, my friend?
It's going fine. Honestly, I don't really have a lot of streams planned this week because, well, moving.
You're moving. Yeah. Let's. When are you officially gonna start moving over?
Well, okay, maybe in I don't know, next week, a couple of weeks. I'm expected to be heading to my new place this month. Well, hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, I hope so too. Moving is a very big deal, especially in today's society. Oof.
Yeah, very much so. But thankfully, I've got a lot of help and support, especially in real life. So
heck yeah,
it's going smoothly. But anyway, you mind introducing yourself to anyone watching the podcast?
Oh, I am ZenNoKiseki, the chef of Cold Steel. I like playing JRPGs, fighting games, and making, and my specialties are gambling and making bad life choices. How's everybody doing today?
Yeah, you're honestly one of the coolest people that I know to, do what it is that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you primarily for whether you're streaming fighting games or Japanese role-playing games or gachas, but you've dipped your toes in other sorts of games here and there.
Yep. It's not something I bring up much, but yeah, those are my focuses.
Yeah. Plus, you're also a really good horror streamer.
Okay, let's not get crazy here. The voices haunt me at night. How did I ever get wrapped up in that label? Yada yada does it.
Yeah, you got wrapped up in playing one of the best games. Okay. I know some people have different tolerances for horror here and there. It's some people handle stress way better than others, and so on.
Yep. My tolerance is pretty much non-existent, and I cope with gambling. Gacha games. Gambling.
Aren't you also gambling when there's a 50-50 in fighting games as well?
Actually, let's go gambling. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang it.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, okay, so I know like there's like certain things that are popular with VTubers here and there. It's like, it's like an indie horror game. Gacha or something. But there's a sizable enough of a community with VTubers and fighting games overlapping with one another, and that's something that I appreciate a lot because it's a thing that actually takes skill and practice, and I'm actually impressed with people who aren't just bitching about RNG.
You say that, but Faust exists. I'm kidding. But yeah.
Okay, actually, okay. Like, there's a little bit of RNG depending on whatever character you got out. Like, you've got the Dragon Quest hero in Smash Brothers. You've got Faust, like you just mentioned. Like, at least it's not like the entire cast or something.
That is also true. When you really boil it down, fighting games is a lot of math, and I hate it. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm terrible at math. I only know enough math to. I've made this joke several times, but I only know enough math to play Fire Emblem. So, pretty basic math.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, Zen, thank you so much for the hydrate. Dude, don't forget to hydrate, especially at this time of year.
Oh, damn right. Whew, I'm sitting on a leather chair and my bag is sticking to it. It's kind of gross, actually.
Bro, why are you sitting on a leather chair? Actually, I shouldn't be talking because my computer chair also has leather, but yeah. I'm also wearing a t-shirt and shorts, so I don't really feel myself sticking to it much.
Yeah, that's true. I just do not work well with layers. It's kind of gross.
So I guess you don't really get along with Shrek.
Ha! Took me a while. I get it. Nah, Shrek's cool. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Shrek Super Slam was one of my favorite games growing up. That's a lie.
It's all ogre now.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Oh my gosh. Also, let me drink again.
Yep. Important to stay hydrated or you will dehydrate.
Yeah, for real, Zeus. Actually, since I mentioned fighting games earlier, so a lot more fighting games have been trying to get more and more people into them. I notice that a lot whenever there's like simple inputs or more tutorials and all that. But there's still a lot of people that are really they're still intimidated by fighting games, like like can't do combos, or that's one of the things that I hear about.
Yeah.
But so, what's your take on getting people into fighting games? Like, is it something that you like to do? Is it something that you see as like a big challenge or easy? What's your take on how fighting games, whether it's developers or the FGC, trying to get more people into them?
Well, there's steps. That's honestly a really good question. I will say that there are steps being made, some in the right direction, I think, that are helping with a lot of people get into the fighting games. But I think for the time being, it still remains a bit of an unsolved problem because there's just feel like there's a lot of things that really intimidate people to get into fighting games. Like, I think combos is kind of like the one that kind of pops up only most people head on the surface,
right?
But I personally think the one thing that really scares people getting to fighting games compared to other genre is, well, two things. One is the ridiculously high skill floor. Combos is part of it, but like I personally think it's the easiest thing to learn because it's just something that you can sort of practice rhythmically, right? Like things like learning neutral, learning mechanics, learning neutral. Like the way I play it is that imagine just take literally any game. It's just any game in general. Imagine you're just thrown right at the final boss right away, right? That's what fighting games is. Like you have all the tutorials, you have all the resources, but like after that, you're kind of on your own. So
right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's actually kind of funny because that's one of the biggest selling points for me, where you play a game and you kind of have the options to go straight to the final boss if you're good enough and you already have the skills. But for any newbie and they end up stumbling upon the final boss, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. It's like it's probably like I would probably describe like one's fighting game journey being like a roguelike to the extremes. Like one day you could be fighting an absolute newbie, same level as you. Other days you could be fighting like Daigo and Mahara. After that, good luck. So it's like, that's like one part of it. Like I think it's like what intimidates people, and the other part is ego, or to be rather specific, ego depletion. Like let's be honest, when you get your first fighting game, there's a really good chance you're gonna get stomped. And for the average person, that is not a good feeling to have. And at that point, you have like two choices: either you persevere and just get your ass kicked over and over until you finally the game starts clicking to you, or you move on and do something else. And like nothing wrong with taking like a simpler approach, but that's just human nature in general.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. And adding to your comments about being thrown against the final boss as well as the ego depletion, it also depends on what sort of game that you're playing, where you have newbies versus whoever you've got that are really good at the game. Like if you pick out a modern fighting game like Tekken 8 or Guilty Gear Strive, there are plenty of people that are getting into that game that you could probably find at your skill level. But if you boot up something like, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head, Marvel vs. Capcom, the other fighting collection. Whenever I booted that game up and I went into matchmaking, literally everyone I fought against was a pro. And as someone who hasn't had the proper time to fight against anyone else that's still learning like I am, that doesn't really give me much opportunities to learn when I spend 90% of the match watching my characters get beaten up in an infinite combo.
Yep. That. I mean, I'm pretty sure even Capcom knew at the time when they sold like Marvel's Capcom Collection and Capcom Fighting Collection 2. This was never meant to bring in new people. This is just for all the oldies who like miss the arcade days, and that's perfectly fine.
Right. I
But
definitely like that
yeah.
option of playing older games, even if it's not for the newcomers that are going to
Yeah.
get squashed by the veterans anyway.
Yeah.
Hell, I still
But-
felt that with the Capcom Fighting Collection too, when I tried doing an online match and Power Stone won, and I didn't stand a chance. But-
Yeah.
But hey, at least I always chalk that up to a skill issue. I'm not gonna be like, this game sucks, it's unfair. It's like, no, clearly there are other people who spent way more time with that game than I ever did, right? And besides, whenever I play a fighting game casually, I have the option to boot up arcade mode. I'm guessing not many people realize that, where you're playing a fighting game and you don't always have to fight against the pros, and you could either just beat up a CPU opponent, or you just invite whoever you know that also has the game. Because remember, guys, you only need one other person to play a fighting game with.
Yep. It's different from like the other like team-based games where it's like you're mostly stuck with randoms most of the time. Fighting games is a 1v1 aspect, and thankfully it's all interconnected. One person who plays one game has a good chance of maybe possibly owning the other game. So it's like that's how communities are formed. You want to play with people, you just maybe create or join a Discord and just ping people up. And yeah, you're right. You just need one person to respond, and after that, you have a session.
Yeah, exactly. Heck, a little while ago, I attended a Street Fighter. What was it? Street Fighter 3.
Third Strike?
No, Street Fighter Third Strike. I think it was Third Strike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I attended that. I didn't really play that game much. However, there were plenty of other people that I could try and match up with and fight Cade. Really awesome app that you guys need to look into if you want to play classic fighting games online. By the way, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I was very grateful to meet other people who were still learning it, and not only that, I'm very fortunate enough to know how to play Ryu, because once you know how to play Ryu, not only do you know how to play other fighting games where they ask you to do similar inputs, like have like quarter circles and zigzags and all that, but if you're playing a Capcom fighting game, there's a very good chance that Ryu is in it, or there's someone similar to Ryu.
Yep. Follow the show archetype.
Yeah. Like, okay, if anyone here is listening and they don't really play fighting games, try playing Ryu, or look into someone who is similar to Ryu, because odds are they're going to be simple enough for you to pick up and play, and you could pick up the fundamentals and transfer that over to whichever character you decide to play,
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh. One of my chatters, Stargazer KG. Oh, sub Stargazer. Yeah, he says Krill issue. Well, okay, I'm guessing that's a joke on skill issue, but yeah, definitely a skill issue, which I know not a lot of people like to accept, but honestly, I like it better that way whenever I fail a game and it's just on my skill rather than something bullshit that's outside of my control. And that's something that I feel with fighting games, that sense of control. Well, most of the time anyway. I can't really do shit about if there's bad service, for example.
Yeah. Not a big fan of the phrase skill issues, but at the end of the day, like, some guy beats you, that's literally what it is. It literally is just a skill issue, and that's okay. That's okay. Even like top fighting game players don't win every single game in their lives. It's just sometimes just okay to sort of just take an L here and there.
Yeah, exactly. And I always tell people this, but every defeat that you take, it's going to make those victories all the more sweeter. I'm someone who really enjoys really intense challenges. Well, okay, maybe not too intense. I mean, I'm trying to play Devil May Cry 5 in hell difficulty, and a lot of people agree that that's frustrating. But besides that, I like some tension. I like some suspense in my fights,
Yeah. And running back on one thing that you mentioned about motion inputs versus simple inputs, I at this point, I would say I'm personally okay with it, but it's also indicative that it helps a little bit with like bringing people in, but like it's also important to highlight the advantages it gives some people player, like one bun SPD for Zangief. That shit's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. Though you also have the other end of the spectrum where, okay, Stargazer KG just mentioned this in the chat, but there's SNK fighter inputs where, yeah, I've seen some of the inputs you have to do for an SNK game. It's like, how the hell does anyone commit this even to muscle memory? I have a lot of respect for any SNK fighting game pros out there.
Gotta love pretzel motion.
Yeah, the pretzel motion.
Yeah, that being said, I think even they were just toning down the execution curve now with fighting games. Like you compare something like with 15 and Fatal Fury, the new Fatal Fury, yeah, they simplified it as well because one, it gives nowadays people just have more legacy information to carry over. So like nowadays it's either charge motion, quarter circles, Shoryuken input. So you learn those fundamentals and you just carry them over to any other game. But fighting game controls back then were weird. I mean, even if you go a little bit far, not crazy far back, but a little bit far back to let's say Xrd, you have like the half circle back, quarter circle forward motion there in some places, and other weird stuff like that.
Yeah, and okay, I'll admit something here when it comes to issues with motion inputs, and okay, I will admit this is a skill issue on my part, guys, but I really dislike the double quarter circle inputs for supers, because you'll have like your normal quarter circle moves and you could put them out whenever you feel like it, but when you have the double quarter circle inputs, then that's really going to throw me off, because one, something will eat my inputs. I don't know exactly how or when or what the factors are, and another thing, if I end up accidentally doing the double quarter circles, like say, okay, here's a scenario. When I do the double quarter circle like sword input for Baiken in the air, it does the Yozanzen. I love using that move, but if I execute that too late and I hit the ground, and I'm usually buffering my quarter circle inputs whenever I do that, I accidentally execute a super and waste my meter.
Yeah. Then that's why part of it just comes to it. There's like two parts to it. Like one, shitload of practice. One thing I always do when I'm running fighting game, just like even on days where I'm too busy to really properly do a play session, I just boot up a little bit, practice my combos both sides. Like, yeah, it can get annoying, but at some point it's just like, depending on how, to be blunt, stubborn you are, you can incorporate it to muscle memory. I still remember like when I first started picking up Grand Blue, my dumbass thought it was a good idea to pick up Narmaya, one of the more execution heavy characters. And through a lot of stubbornness and just incorporating things to memory, so not really memory, but muscle memory, I'm able to get her stand switching like mid combo like no problem. And like legitimately nowadays, like every time I do her combos or stand switches, I am legit not thinking about what my hands are doing. Like I just let my hands do. I just think of something and let my hands do the rest of the work, and that's kind of like the cool part. Is just it's like having that, like achieving that flow state. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That makes absolutely a lot of sense. That's something that I ended up practicing a lot, to the point where I could just zone out, and then my hands and the rest of my brain could just finish the fight for me, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Oh shit, I won? How did I do that? Like, that definitely happened a lot whenever I'm playing Tekken, and chat can attest to those times where I'm chatting with them, and then I look at the game, and I'm like, wait, how did I win? What happened, guys?
Exactly. No thoughts, head empty. I'm kidding.
Oh, since you brought up Grand Blues, so first off, mad respect to you for reaching master rank with more than one character. That's something that I haven't done yet, and I've been on and off with the game. And
thank you.
Yeah, and also, okay, so I know that it's not simple inputs can be very controversial. There are arguments for against and for it. And I feel that a game like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus hits that sweet spot where you can do the technical inputs or you can do the simple inputs, but there are pros and cons to doing either one. And I like that even though there's easier ways to do certain moves, there's the whole, I'm trying to put this into words. There's like different things that you could consider and weigh in your options, and that's something I like to do in the heat of battle, weighing my options rather than just go for the one optimal strategy and suddenly every fight is the same.
Yeah, I think it can't be understated how Grand Blue just has that perfect blend of things. Like don't get me wrong, I think like when you really get down to the nitty gritty, there's a lot more benefits to doing simple inputs versus motion inputs because the way the system works, but it still rewards legacy players who've at this point already put into the grind and have been so accustomed to the motion inputs that they can just sort of just do it without thinking. And unironically, like a good example is like, let's say, and you know, like I will admit I've accepted a nice middle ground when it comes to like blending what I like to do in terms of like motion inputs versus simple inputs. So a good example is that if I am in a combo, I will use motion inputs for most of it because that's just what my body is used to. But in, let's say, instances like neutral, where kind of like everything kind of determines from like one can be decided in like a split second who gets the advantage, I prefer using simple inputs because it's like throwing a fireball, for instance. Like throwing a fireball, pressing one button and doing a quarter circle forward. Like if both of us do it at the same time, the one who just pressed the button will go out first. So I will gladly take advantage of things like that to sort of get me an edge in the fight. I'm very lazy like that.
Yeah, and for anyone who has never played Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, so you have your technical inputs and your simple inputs, but the simple inputs they're quicker, but they deal a little bit less damage, whereas the technical inputs they deal more damage, but obviously technical inputs are harder to do. I think of the simple inputs as jabs, you know, kind of like how you have your like light, medium, heavy attack in a game like Street Fighter, for example. So you kind of decide, okay, do I really want to do this technical input in the heat of the moment and hope that I execute it properly, or do I just do the simple input and at least focus on just hitting them a little bit and then maybe chain with technical stuff from there on out?
Yep, exactly. Especially when I play a character like Narm who has like a blazing fast fireball, I will abuse those simple inputs because if you can react to that, that's cool. I can't. So it's like, I'm going to use that shit.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the game, right? Like, okay, I'm someone who's okay with simple inputs as long as there's depth and complexity with everything else around it, you know? Like, okay, this is a little bit outside of fighting games, but this is very applicable to shoot 'em ups, like, you know, Toho, for example. But another shooting game that I think of is Downwell, where like you move left and right, you got one button for jumping, but it's also the same button for shooting if you're in the air, and there's a bunch of stuff happening around those simple controls that makes me very mindful of where I'm going, what I'm hitting, and all that. So, but again, I'm not a game designer, so I'm not gonna tell people, oh, simple inputs are the future of fighting games. Like, no, I do not have the experience and authority to claim something like that, especially since I've never made a fighting game myself. I can only work with what we've already got and comments from there.
I think when it comes to that, I think simple inputs are fine. I think what is not fine though is adding extra buttons for us to manage. I can only say this because I play with like hitbox or like leverless, but like I like working in the confines of 6 to 7 buttons. The minute like something becomes like an 8-button fighter, I'm just like, oh, that's exhausting.
Oh yeah. Like that would be really crazy to do, and it would just end up throwing out the idea that I keep telling people that, hey guys, fighting games are actually really accessible because you just have to worry about the buttons for movement and the buttons for attacking. But once you make it an 8-button fighter, or God forbid a 10-button fighter, that's when suddenly, okay, now you're just asking everyone to learn how to play Devil May Cry.
Yeah, honestly, you're not wrong. I mean, the minute it becomes a 10-button fighter, I need to find myself a new controller ASAP. Because 8 buttons all I got.
Well, okay, if you're not counting the D-pads, I already have 10 buttons on my Xbox controller because there are these 2 back buttons that I could reprogram. Wait, actually, hold on. No, these back buttons are meant to copy whatever is already existing on other controllers. Scratch that, never mind.
I guess you could probably use it as a... never mind. But like you look at more modern controllers nowadays too, they also started adding more buttons as well. I think because they're also like aware of like this trend of like more buttons being used to play fighting games. Like you look at like some people's controllers, like you got your pads, you got your sticks, then you got your sticks with extra buttons, you got your hitboxes with extra buttons. It's getting pretty wild. So it's really up into the air where it's gonna go from here.
Yeah, I just hope that nothing gets too complex with the button count, because people like to have their options with controls, right? With like what you just mentioned with the hitboxes and controllers, or heck, I know a couple of keyboard warriors out there who can still kick ass with keys. But fuck, where was I going with this? Oh shit, a raid! Welcome, raiders! Hello, everyone! My name is Arsen D Tabby, the #1 tiger thief, and this is... Go ahead and introduce yourself, Zen.
Hi everybody, welcome waiters, I'm Zen. What's up?
Yeah, Chef of Cold Steel and the fellow fighting game VTuber. Guys, if you need to go raid and run, that's totally fine. But if you guys want to stick around for some superhero action, it's actually a podcast this time around. Welcome to episode 1 of Heroes Day Off. It's a crossover VTuber podcast where I invite people for a variety of topics. Right now, Zen and I are talking about fighting games, getting into them, and all that. Anyway, Mary Raiders, if you need to go raid and run, that's totally understandable. But if you guys want to stick around and shoot the shit with us about fighting games, well, take it from here, Mary. Also, guys, please go follow like Rosemary of Vampire VTuber.
And buy your fried chicken while you're at it too.
Oh, yeah. Actually, why don't we all get around or something? God, I miss Jollibee.
I haven't actually been to Jollibee's yet. They only recently opened up one here in Canada, and it's still so busy and it's still so far. I'm waiting for the hype to die down until I can finally hit up without waiting for like an hour and a half.
Oh god, yeah, that actually reminds me of I remember reading up on the news that there was an In-N-Out that opened in, I forget which state it was, but it was in the Midwest. But from the pictures and videos that I have seen, there were lines that were going around and lasting for a day or something. Like, bro, I love In-N-Out Burger, but come on, no one would line up for a fucking $5 burger or something, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. People just really like lining up. I don't know why.
Oh, we gotta be a part of the hype. It's just like the launch of the PS2 or something. I'm camping out in front of my burger joint.
So yeah, one day I will wait until it's ready. Nothing I can make do with, like, honestly, there's just so many Korean fried chicken joints around my area that I don't really care at the moment.
I could go for some Korean fried chicken.
It's the best KFC. I know what I said.
Yes. Honestly, you're not wrong. KFC is pretty fucking basic. I'm sorry to anyone who likes KFC. I don't think KFC is terrible. But
no, don't be sorry.
Either.
Don't be sorry. If you like KFC, go on and get some real KFC. You're missing out.
Yeah, Korean fried chicken. Hella crunchy, bro.
No.
Oh, actually, so bit of a change of topic, but Mary, when she raided here earlier, the game that she was actually playing was the Lunar remaster. I don't know if you've ever heard or played Lunar. She was playing Lunar Civil Star Story.
No. I've heard the name going around, but I never had the chance to check it out. I know it is like a JRPG series, or maybe
it's a Japanese role-playing series with a turn-based combat and all that.
Yeah, who are the developers behind that one?
Yeah,
do you know?
Sorry, what?
Do you know the developers behind that one by chance?
No. Enlighten me.
No, me neither. That's why I was asking you.
Oh, okay. You know what? I have the internet in the palm of my hands. I can look it up right now. Unless anyone wants to chime in and tell us about the Lunar series. Lunar Silver Story. There we go. Let's see. It was developed by Game Arts. Why is that name ring a bell?
Doesn't ring a bell to me.
Published by Katakawa. Okay. Actually, let me see what else that they worked on.
Okay, Katakawa, I can kind of believe that actually.
Let's see. A bunch of games I have never. Oh wait, no, never mind. I heard of Grandia. It's the Grandia devs.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know mostly Katakawa, mostly publishing, but I know they dabble in games. And if it's a Japanese company, 99% of the time, it's something anime.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, funny enough, whenever it comes to like video games and anime and all that, well, okay, you probably already know this, but I can be pretty picky if something looks too
I know
similar to other things. Okay, I've seen a lot of shit out there, so originality is gonna stand out to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the reality is the fact that it's really hard to come up with something original, even if you're not trying to, and you try to make a system, and people are gonna make comparisons whether you want to or not. That's just the reality of it. I guess the only exception to that right now is probably Claire Obscura. That thing that thing looked pretty innovative. I'm playing it. Look good.
Also, hold on. Hikaru just gave us a care package. Thank you for the head pat. And Zen, don't forget to drink and stretch.
Okay.
Also, thank you, Hikaru. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Also, so let's see. Yeah, as someone who gets compared a lot to All Might for some fucking reason, people will try and make comparisons wherever they can.
I'm a little sad they didn't go straight to Kamina, but okay, fine. I see how it is.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, there are a few people who actually recognize the Gurren Lagann inspiration, so there's that.
I think that just tells a lot about how old you are just from that.
Yeah, or how ignorant everyone else is. Actually, I don't know how well informed or ignorant everyone else is, but I like to tease a little bit.
Yeah, I've just accepted that we just live in a bygone era now. Everything's just no, I don't even know what's the mainstream one. Probably Demon Slayer, if I had to guess. That's probably.
I'll be honest, I haven't really kept up with a lot of modern anime. Oh, actually, hold that thought. Brodo just says, I look at Tabby and think Kamino Rider. Actually, you know what? I'll fucking take that. Also, Ash Frost. No, you're blind. I know you're saying JK, but still.
Lost Ultra. Kidding.
Yeah. Anyway, I was about to say, I don't really keep up with a lot of modern anime these days because one, monthly anime releases are so overwhelming that it's really hard to pick out whatever I would like. I mean, occasionally I'll find something that I enjoy, even if it's just by looking at the art style. But still, it's really overwhelming, and I tend to stick with the series that I already know that I want to finish anyway.
Oh man, I mean, I would honestly say the same for games. I would think there's a lot of media coming in, and if your average person can only follow so much, that is perfectly fine. I lean more towards gaming myself, so it's like I pay more attention to like gaming news as opposed to anime news. Yeah. That being said, I am personally really excited to see the Yuri fighting game anime called Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games.
Oh, I heard of that one. Yeah. I saw a teaser, but I know nothing about it. The only other anime that I've ever watched that was related to fighting games, like real life fighting game stuff, by the way, is I forgot what it was called. I think it was High Score Girl. Like,
yes, that is High Score Girl.
Okay, yeah. It had like this dude who was really salty with this one girl who was really good at playing games, and the game in question is Street Fighter, and they talk about some real life Street Fighter strats, like how playing Guile works, for example. And I thought that was really cool and totally relevant to anyone that loves both anime and fighting games, which is a lot of people anyway.
Yep. I think the fighting. I mean, I haven't like read the manga, but. I mean, think every Yuri show ever and just throwing fighting games and like I'm like, hey, don't threaten me with a good time. So the show might be, the plot might be like absolute crap, but I'm just like, you know what, screw this. I'm just happy to finally like see another fighting game anime. I watched there's that other show that came out either before or after High School Girl. I don't remember the timeline. It's called Gamers. I was a little disappointed it didn't focus too much on games. It's just the weirdest love pentagon I've ever seen in my life.
So it's kind of like how K-On! Was about like a high school band, but they don't actually play music. They just fuck around in a slice of life series, right?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Jeez. Like, oh hey, we're going to like catch some attention with an interesting premise. Okay, no, it's just like another romance anime or another slice of life anime.
I think what I think is really funny about like the new like fighting game Yuri anime is the fact that they're actually using like gameplay from Street Fighter 6, because like in the manga it's like it's like the off-brand kind of fighting game, kind of thing, where it's like Street Fighter 6 it's like Iron Fist 8 or something like that instead of like Tekken, So this time they're actually gonna be using like Street Fighter 6 like gameplay footage, and that just has me curious how that's all gonna come together. It might be crap, I won't lie, but I'm still excited for it.
Sounds like Capcom is paying for advertisement.
I mean, better marketing than whatever the hell SNK's doing.
Yeah, with the real life people in there. Well, okay, I'm not against real life like celebrities or whatever being added into a fighting game, if that was already part of the game's premise anyway. But from what I remember, didn't SNK focus more on using original characters anyway? Yes,
SNK was always just about. I mean, you got your boys Terry Bogard. Terry Bogard is from like SNK from Fatal Fury, and so they definitely already had like their original characters, and like I felt like if they want to use real life characters, it's fine. But why a soccer player and a DJ, right?
Yeah, I mean at this point, putting Negan from The Walking Dead in Tekken 7 makes way more sense.
I hate that I can't argue with you on that part. You are right.
Yeah.
It's like I already thought Negan Tekken was already hella weird, and SNK decided to one-up it somehow by bringing in Ronaldo and Salvatore. Yeah, I mean, I do give Ganachi some slack though, because he does seem like a pretty down-to-earth character. Like IRL, like he attended Evo Japan and pretty much just chilled with like fighting game commentators. Like he looked like he was having a lot of fun. So like, I give him some slack.
God, when are they gonna add me in a fighting game?
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is apparently either one, buy SNK, or rub the balls of the Saudi prince who bought SNK. So pick your poison.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ronaldo. It is weird because Ganachi came out. Ganachi got revealed second, so because of that, because of the timing of it, he's the one who got like most of the fire with the whole. Oh, what are these weird crossover characters? But later on, you realize Ganachi was actually made pretty well as a character, while Ronaldo feels is pretty half-assed. So nothing really confirmed, but it gave me the impression that SNK wanted to add in Ganachi, but not Ronaldo, and there was just some kind of whims of somebody higher up or some shit. I don't know.
Right, that would make a lot of sense. Although I've only played City of the Wolves when it was in beta. I remember sparring against you during the beta, but I never went and got the full game myself, especially when I'm already busy with whatever other fighting games or, well, any game really that I'm juggling.
Yeah. At this point, though, I'm not even sure if I'm being 100%. I'm not even sure if I can even recommend it anymore, because it ended up, the player base ended up petering pretty fast, and marketing is just the marketing for that game is just weird. Like I like the game, don't get me wrong. I think it's super fun, but yeah, I think the Saudi Prince actually owned the team that Ronaldo was on already. I could be wrong about that part though. And
Yeah.
Ganache was his favorite DJ, and you know, that's where it all felt like all really weird.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Don't everyone do not quote us on that. We're just kind of like, you know, just shooting the shit here. So just fact check on your own time, everyone.
Yeah. That being said, I do agree with what Brodo said. Terry Mine does feel pretty good in Street Fighter 6. It is easy for me to forget that Terry was a Fatal Fury character, but just how well he felt integrated into Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, especially with the history between Capcom and SNK throughout the years.
Yeah.
So it's always cool to see the both of their fighting game franchises just overlap with one another with their crossover fighting games.
Exactly.
Though I'm mostly speaking from an outsider, especially since, for those of you who don't know, I mostly played fighting games growing up casually, and I never got serious until 2020. Yeah, guess how I found the time to practice fighting games?
COVID,
Shocker,
baby.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, people had time to do a lot of stuff during COVID. But that's beside the point. And I would love for Capcom and SNK to team up for Capcom vs SNK 3, especially after Capcom broke up with Marvel. Or Marvel broke up with Capcom. I actually don't know who. I like to think Marvel broke up with Capcom first.
Yeah, I'm more convinced that it's more so the latter because you know, with Marvel kind of building up its brand with its video games, like with Marvel Rivals, and then what they've got in the pipeline through Insomniac Games, and then they have Marvel Tokon announced with Arc System Works. It's nuts.
Oh yeah, honestly, Marvel has been cooking so hard. I mean, like, it's so funny because I think like the movies are falling off a little bit, but now Marvel's coming back with the games instead. I'm just like, Marvel's been consistently cooking so much. DC might be on suicide watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and not just because that they were trying to push out the Suicide Squad as a franchise either.
Honestly, I think DC's kind of screwed in general with the whole just because of Warner Brothers. It's just I have like zero faith in Warner Brothers anymore.
Yeah, truth be told, it really sucks to be a fan of DC because, you know, I like Superman. I definitely want to go see the new Superman movie when it comes out, but you know, 90% of everything else that was being done under Warner Brothers direction, yeah, not so great. Whether it's the games or like most of their movies, I say most because I still really liked The Batman with Robert Pattinson. I thought that was a damn good movie.
Right, yeah, I'll give you that. That was a good movie.
Yeah, but I do feel more positive towards Marvel more so than DC because yeah, Marvel kind of fell off a bit more with their MCU stuff, but at least every now and then there's something that's at least fun to watch. And I marathon through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, as part of a date, and yeah, like there were peaks and valleys, but I still had a lot of fun seeing how things came together, at least up to Endgame.
Yeah, I think I think I'll also say that their games have also come a long way. I was like worried for the worst when Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out, and I was not too optimistic. But you know, you have the games now like Marvel Rivals. I hate the community, but the game's really solid. I do like Marvel Rivals as a game. And then with Tokon coming out, I'm just like, it's Marvel, baby.
Yeah. Or embrace Image, like Brodo says, which honestly, I would have to agree with that because from what
Image again? What does Image do again?
Image Comics, they put out independent comics that the comic creators themselves still own the rights to, and one of the people that founded Image Comics is Robert Kirkman. It's how he put out The Walking Dead and now Invincible. Yeah. Most famously Spawn. Thank you for reminding me, Brodo. Yes, Spawn is part of Image Comics. I think.
I love Spawn from the Soul. I love Spawn from the Soul Calibur series. And what? Who said that?
Okay, so admittedly, I don't really know much about Spawn except that he was voiced by Keith David, right? I hope I don't misremember because I remember him having a good voice actor, and I think it was Keith David. Oh well. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Image Comics, like, yeah, there's Spawn, allegedly, and then there's The Walking Dead and Invincible. Do you watch Invincible or no?
I watched the show. I love the show. I really like the show. That being said, I am really confused on why there's a fighting game for Invincible.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Although, if I recall correctly, it's being developed by the creators of Killer Instinct.
Correct.
Yeah. So at least I can take comfort in knowing that it's being worked on people that have fighting game experience. What caught me off guard though is that it's okay. An Invincible game being like really brutal, I mean, we all saw that coming. But like making it a tag fighter as well, like holy shit.
It's also that, and the fact that wouldn't half the fighting game cast be technically Superman in a way? Like like I think they'll do fine as a game, but like the question I have is why?
Yeah, I guess we can see for ourselves once the game actually comes out, because I know that there's like various characters that they could pull from the Invincible series to add in, though they've already shown how many films have they shown? Like 3 or 4?
Invincible, I don't think they showed Omni-Man, but I would expect them to do Omni-Man.
Omni-Man is in there. Yeah, we were fine.
I think we saw like the Lady Viltrumite too with the hair.
Yeah, her too. Also, Gator Balls, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Heist Cat Burglar. Don't forget to follow ZenNoKiseki, the chef of Cold Steel himself.
I'm picking my nose right now. Wait, what? Anyways,
follow him for nose picking content while he's like playing games with one hand.
Hey, I mean, you're right. That being said, though, I think with both don't get me cute. Anyways, with Invincible and Tokon coming out, I will say though, 2XKO really needs to get off their asses.
Yeah, I told myself that I would play 2XKO, stupid name by the way, when it comes out, but I'm also thinking, no, it's not gonna be worth it. I even said to myself that, ooh, I'm gonna have my revenge against the League of Legends community when this comes out, but like, I don't have the motivation anymore.
Yeah, it's... Thing is though, they've been baking it for far too long. I forgot when they announced they baked it for far too long, and that I didn't even play the latest alpha lab, but I saw it. It looks bad. Every game went to timeout. I'm just like, what is this? There's more timeout than in Smash. That should not be happening.
Yeah. Like the more that we're waiting, the more that they make some weird decisions. Like, we're gonna make the game simpler, and a bunch of other things here and there. And I'm like, is this even worth waiting for anymore? While we're still playing these other fighting games that are also coming out. Like, Jesus.
It's not even just KO'd anymore. It's TO'd. It's timeout. It's 2x timeout now.
Yeah, 2x timeout now.
Yeah.
Or ring out. This was Soul Calibur. Fill up the stage before the fight even started.
Yeah. Like, if nothing else, the game is gonna be marketed to free to play, so I'll just play it because it's free. It's not gonna spend any money on me, but. The one thing's for sure, they need to release it soon, because if once Tokon comes out, that's gonna have my focus for a very long time.
Yeah. Heck, even if I have to pay $60 or something for Tokon, that's still gonna be way preferable over installing a free fighting game that's probably gonna be underwhelming.
Yeah. Right now, I think the only way Tokon would fuck up is basically if they do a smaller roster, which, I mean, actually that's not even possible because they've already showcased 8 characters.
So who knows who else they've got in the pipeline.
Yep, I just have one complaint. It's just none of my waifus, but that's just me. But it's okay. Well, hopefully,
dude, just imagine they add in Emma Frost as one of the playable characters.
Bro, I'll be playing that game with no hands. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, just get good at Marvel Tokon with like a team of 4 Emma Frost while playing like Broly legs.
Challenge accepted. I've been working out my tongue. I mean, what? Who said that? Ouchies.
Mood.
anyways, yeah, I think it helps that this is it helps that Marvel's Rivals also came out too. So like now I'm introduced to a lot of characters that gives me a bigger wish list than I was expecting.
Yeah, I'll admit there were some Marvel characters that I wasn't familiar with. Although to be fair, I've only read a few Marvel comics and I need to work on that. But still, it's really cool to see how Marvel is not only having these games be way more popular and then introduce certain characters to a mainstream audience, but also the developers have the green light to just pick out whatever characters that they can from Marvel's history, and that's very exciting.
I will also add that as a shameless Arxis shell, I am really happy for them that they're getting collab with Marvel. This has been like their biggest IP that they've worked with yet.
For real.
Yeah. So it's like, my boy Arc System works now moving up in the world. It brings a tear to my eye.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Also, Fool's Rhyme, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Heist Cat Burglar. Please go follow ZenNoKiseki. He likes to play fighting games, as we've been discussing, but also Japanese role-playing games and so on and so forth.
No. But yeah. I think there was a lot of, I think like my knowledge of, don't call me cute. My knowledge of characters is don't get I know part of me hope that I would let's be honest. I have like the most unrealistic expectation for Arxis to fulfill all my nerdy needs.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm an Arxis shill as well. I've been liking their games a lot more in recent years. Well, okay, partially because I kind of fell off of Street Fighter and Tekken, but still, really good fighting game company, and I really want to try what else that they put out. Plus, just having a Marvel fighting game from Arxis, that's pretty fucking awesome, especially when we see how certain Marvel superheroes are being translated into the style of Arc System works.
Oh, I fucking love Cap and Iron Man's new look. Iron Man's a fucking Gundam, and Cap's got that like soul bad guy jacket. That shit's good.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be so mad if there's no plastic model kit of Toko and Iron Man. Like, come on, that's gonna print money. I would pre-order one, and I never pre-order plastic model kits.
Well, it sounds like we need to do our duty and pre-order the game. Oh, I mean, once they open up those pre-orders. Yeah. I already have it on wish list.
Yeah, actually, wait. I said I never pre-ordered plastic models, but that's a lie. I pre-ordered that G-Quax model. I'm not watching the show, but the design is so unusual that I just have to see how I assemble it.
Yeah. I like to think that with Arxis is that, I mean, they have like the world's wildest range of IP fighting games. They've done Dragon Ball FighterZ, they've done DNF Duel, they've done Granblue. Hunter x Hunter is actually coming out, I think, next week. So happy for all the Hunter x Hunter fans out there. I won't be picking up the game, but I do have friends who are big Hunter x Hunter fans, so I'm happy for them. So, and with Marvel, I mean, please, all my weird fandoms, throw them money so we can get more fighting games.
Yeah. Especially when fighting games, they're niche compared to other genres, but I love that we're getting like a bunch of pretty cool fighting games, even if some don't last as long as others. But I just love being able to just press buttons to punch people and watch cool shit happen, and then just see how far any one of us can go. Even if the game has a lower skill barrier, there's always that higher skill ceiling to go for,
Yep. And with Tokan especially, someone who's now going through some like Marvel Rivals burnout from like bad teammates, I'm just like, you know what? Screw this. I'll be the team. I'll play all 4 characters myself. Kidding.
Okay, so confession. I recently reinstalled Marvel Rivals because I want to play with a friend who is also streaming it. So if you need a teammate, hit me up while I still have it.
Yeah, of course. I think like it's definitely a game that nowadays I just play either for like the dailies, like battle passes and all that crud, or just with friends. I tried climbing in that game and I'm just like, God, people are assholes.
Yeah, no, I can never play a team-based game seriously. I've made a lot of complaints about how you can't really rely on randos, and how I like to own my victories and defeats by myself anyway.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I had to reevaluate what I wanted to do, and I'm just like, do I want to rank up in fighting games or want to rank up my rivals? I decided to just go back to fighting games because, yeah, you're right. It is like, at the end of the day, was I turn on my text chat? Yeah. I have my VC. I didn't know you could turn off the text chat. Actually, I should look into that. I have my VC like permanently turned off because I'm tired.
Yeah. I always avoid using the VC whenever I'm playing a team-based game like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not worth letting them in, even if you're supposed to be coordinating with them.
Exactly. I mean, I play in the low ranks anyways, so no one's going to coordinate. No one's going to be coordinating. It's just people just yelling at each other, telling why everybody else sucks but them. So I'm just like, yeah, screw this. I'm not here for this crap. I just want my skin and leave.
Yeah. Or you could be like me, where if I see randos arguing with each other in a team game like that, I'm like, Mom, Dad, please stop fighting! You're tearing this family apart!
You actually yell on the mic like that?
No, usually I type it out because I'm usually just in VC with friends anyway. Because only my friends will hear me say shit like, okay, for example, if my friends and I would win a match in, say, Overwatch, then I will say, plop, 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 get pregnant! Yeah. And I have to explain that, Red Team didn't have protection, so they got pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember, like, this one setting that made me realize that the game wasn't worth grinding was, like, there was, like, that whole period. I forgot when it was. Either end of season 1 or beginning of season 2, there was like that really stupid support strike, and like I was like playing one guy. I was playing with one guy who locked in healer, and he was just like, I'm so glad I'm on strike. I'm just like, why did you lock healer then? Why, if you're gonna be on strike anyways? You want to be DPS? That's fine. Let me heal. I don't know. People are just so weird on the internet.
Yeah, and that's not even going into like the weirdness that is playing a League of Legends match with randos.
Oh hell no, I ain't doing that.
40 minutes of torture and then being punished for trying to leave from said toxic randos.
Like, that support strike was so weird because it's just like, yeah, sure, if you don't want to heal, that's fine, but why did you lock in healer if you weren't going to heal anyways? You want to play DPS? You don't just want DPS? That's fine. I'll do it instead. Yeah. You have to like lock the role for yourself.
Yeah, there's a reason that we have separate roles to like, do one very specific thing.
Yeah. Nowadays I just fill because it's just like nowadays I just fill whenever which naturally makes me a tank player by default because nobody plays tank.
Yeah, I'm at least glad that that's an option where you just fill depending on like who people are not playing. Yeah. You can't really do that in Overwatch because you have to lock into a role first. Or at least that's what I remember last time I tried it.
Yeah, I think like thinking about it now, like I had some time to think about it. I'm just like, no role queue is fine. At the end of the day, it's like if you want to play with an imbalanced team, that's fine. If you lose because of it, accept it, eat it.
Yeah, take the L. Oh wait, no, too many people are too immature to take the L.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the reason why I'm kind of happy that fighting games are niche in a way, because you don't really have those kinds of people. Like people who are that like sort of like immature, who've like fragile egos and all that stuff, they wouldn't be in a game like fighting games doing it. They would just straight up leave. They would
and to be clear, guys, we're not saying it's perfectly okay to be a dick and gatekeep, but if you're filtering out people that are not going to be in it for the thing that everyone else loves, like just being humble and accepting good match, whether you win or lose, and they're not going to take that, then why let them stick around and keep playing that shit,
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to try and appeal to those types of people if they're not going to meet the game genre and community halfway,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's like, I don't enjoy gatekeeping either, but it's like, I can't teach you to enjoy fighting games. I can't teach anyone to enjoy fighting games. It's like, part of the fun is just sort of like, part of that fun is like that feedback loop of like, lose, get a little bit salty, improve, get better. Then after that, you come back winning. It's like, that's that's what makes, I think, fighting games fun for like me,
Yeah.
maybe for you, and for like a lot of people.
Yeah, it's very exciting
Yeah,
for me, and
yeah.
it makes me feel like I'm in a shonen anime series where it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, turns out I'm the best around these
Yeah.
people, and then you go to the next arc, and it's like, like you thought I was tough, I'm actually the weakest of this group, and then it just escalates,
Yeah.
and you try to see how far you can go with all these people that you're
Exactly.
throwing hands with. I love
Yeah.
that. And I've said this before, and well, other people have said this too, but part of the fun with fighting games is that journey of self-improvement. Though, like you said, you cannot teach someone to learn to enjoy fighting games. And even though I like to stream fighting games and action games, and I tell people why I love this sort of thing, I cannot teach everyone to have the same motivation, nor to like, oh, you need to play like this or something like that. Like, no, you got to discover that intrinsic sense of fun and sense of challenge and all of that on your own, and then just kind of find your own path with what playstyle you like, what challenges you like to tackle, and at what pace you prefer, you know?
Or you can just quit. People do that too.
Or you could just quit. Like how a lot of people in the Marvel collection quit after Justin Wong just filtered out the casuals.
The Wazzler's coming.
The Wazzler.
Still, though, my favorite moment with Justin Wong is still going to be that time he did beat up an 8-year-old kid in Mortal Kombat. You're going to learn. Welcome to the real world. You're going to learn.
Oh my god.
I don't think it's funny. I heard among the grapevine that kid he bodied is like still playing. So in a way, I think it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty much me when I was babysitting. Okay, I've shared a few babysitting stories, but this is one of my most favorite ones. I will teach my niece and nephew the basics of a game like Smash Brothers. I make sure that they know the basics of the controls, what each button does, and then I'm like, okay, sink or swim, baby girl.
Do the Mishima family tradition, just throw them off the cliff. Or in this
exactly, yes. Like, okay, yeah, obviously you gotta ease the kids into the basics, right? But after they learn the basics, then you gotta set them loose and see how far they go. I did that, but the last time I did that, my niece, who was what, 4 or 5 years old at the time, told me that she basically learned guerrilla warfare in Breath of the Wild. I didn't teach her to set bokoblin camps on fire. She did that shit on her own while sneaking around them with the bow and arrow. Like,
yeah, you better.
The kid became Rambo.
You better keep an eye on her when she becomes a high schooler. Just saying.
Yeah.
No, though. On another news, Tabby, have you ever heard of the DHC glitch?
Nope. Enlighten me.
So it's when you're in your combo, it turns into another combo, but that combo doesn't always become another combo. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just joking. It's a funny commentary moment. Look it up sometime. It's like you probably don't need to understand the game. You just need to hear the commentator. just make it. Yeah. Broden knows it. Hell no! What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Like, one of the reasons why it's always fun to watch a tournament like top 8 in an Evo tournament or something is gonna be those commentaries and such.
Oh yeah, I got. Oh, my favorite, still to this day, my favorite FGC moment of all time is the Washige. What are you standing up for, Washige? No.
Yeah, he thought he won, but it was still going and he lost, right?
It was yeah. Oh god, I think it happened. I think we had like a very similar moment in another game in BlazBlue. I think for one event, I think it was either CO or combo, but yeah, a guy thought he finished the game, tried to fist bump the other guy, but no, it turns out the guy was like on a sliver house. They tried to resume the game, but he got killed. What are you standing up for?
Guys, this is why you need to focus in a fighting game. You need to be double sure that you're finishing what you started. Otherwise, your opponent will do it for you.
Finish your food.
Yes. Eat your fruits and vegetables.
But no, it's like, yeah, I think like that's the other thing about like fighting games, just like fighting games in general, just especially FGC. It's the closest thing we got to real life anime, you know, like because like yeah, because all the storylines. Oh yeah, Hayao won. Oh yeah, Hugo, that button's so useless. Says Justin Wong. He won with a useless button. Honestly, Hayao from like Evo last year, man, that guy was the highlight. Man was doing splits on stage. He was having the time of his life.
God, yeah. Like, okay, obviously winning the match is way more important than showing off, but if you can do both, you got the sauce.
Yeah. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, I could be wrong, but did Hayao win all of? I need to double check Hayao won through all the third strike, but man, that guy was the highlight of Evo last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of like my favorite moments in any fighting game tournament, I always think back to that one time where someone played through a Tekken tournament with Panda, and Panda was considered a low tier character. And Harada himself was like, Panda? Really?
Really?
Yeah, like, okay, there's a couple reasons why I love that. One, I mean, Harada's reaction is priceless. Yeah. And two, it just goes to show that like you could win even with a low tier character if you know what you're doing, and that, you know, tier lists are more of a suggestion rather than, oh, this character's the best, this character's the worst. Like, okay, it all comes down to like the players themselves and how they make the most out of them.
I think the other way that you can also interpret tier lists as well is that if they are high tier, it's a character most people will be playing, and therefore a character you're gonna have to study the most on. While if they're low tier, it's like, what the hell do you do? Nobody plays these characters. How do you practice against this character? Nobody plays them, right? So it's like, I think I think people should really reevaluate what it means to look at tier lists that way, because like low tier characters do have their moments. It's just that, yeah, you're right. It's just that, you know, you gotta put in the work, but if you do, you have a character that nobody else fights.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like,
bro says, I have a clip I want to show the two of you. It involves Justin Wong. Yeah, since we're talking FGC stuff, yeah, go ahead. Link it over here, and we'll react to it together.
Yeah, I think my other favorite moment though in FGC is Goichi versus Leffen in Dragon Ball FighterZ. I don't play the game, but man, I was watching that set, and that guy Goichi went full Ultra Instinct and blocked every insane combo mix-up.
Wow. Also, bro just linked it. Let me just go do that. Let me.
I link them.
Yeah, I'm gonna screen share this so that you see, and I'll also make sure that chat can also see it. Let's see here. Please don't be slow. And then let me just bring up my window. Wait, this is. Oh shit, it's behind us. Hold on. Let me move this up.
Also, watch stream right.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, guys, I did not prepare for. Okay. All right.
Just from reading this title, I already have a good idea what this is about.
Okay.
Oh, this is fun.
All right, there we go. All right, let's see what the heck this is about. I don't think I'm familiar with this one.
Yeah. It's Daigo!
No!
Have you ever like tried like the Street Fighter Third Strike parry? That shit's actually pretty hard compared to like newer games.
Dude, I'm not even gonna try.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I heard that there was like a combo trial, like a trial in Third Strike that's legit just parrying this combo. It's so good. I think he was in fact Daigo. I think what's even funnier though, because I think I saw like another clip like recently where like Justin Wong was playing Street Fighter 6, I think in the hotel room, and he was just like, and he just ran into Daigo by chance. So they did a set, and of course, Daigo like perfect parried, I think, his super, and of course finishes up with the level 2 of all things, just for memory's sake. Daigo's so. This is like the funniest rival I've ever seen.
My God. Yeah, like all the jokes and references to Evo Moment 37 is hilarious, but also it's very important to remember, guys, that Justin, like, what was it with Justin Wong? Street Fighter Third Strike isn't really his main game compared to all the shit he does in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So that's another thing to consider where you're playing fighting games. People will be good with one game, but not be as good in another. It doesn't just apply to fighting games, by the way. This is also me with single player action games. Like, I'm great at Devil May Cry, but I know there are people who are way more cracked in Bayonetta than I am.
Yeah. I think it's also important to mention that Justin's actually pretty chill with like the whole Third Strike, like the EO1 meme, because even if it was like one of his biggest losses, it's still something people talk about. Like, people who don't know fighting games know this moment, and so it's just like, in a way, that's a dub in his books. So I think it's pretty cool that he thinks like that.
Yeah, like, that's another thing that everyone needs to remember when you're playing fighting games. Always be a good sport and keep your chin up, even if you're part of the receiving end. If you're in the receiving end of one of the biggest moments of fighting games ever.
Yeah.
Because, if you have like a big L there, you can still get W's elsewhere. And Justin Wong obviously took a lot of W's whenever he plays Marvel. Especially since we mentioned earlier about how a lot of people just quit playing the Marvel collection because of him.
It's still funny. Oh yeah, and Sonic Fox, yeah, he's the only guy I know that's. I think he carried Evo titles in both DBFC and Mortal Kombat.
Wow.
In fact, it's probably no exaggeration to say for anyone to be able to like win a Mortal Kombat tournament, Sonic Fox has to not enter at this.
Wow.
The same with like Shanghai and like SNK fighters. If you want to win an SNK fighter, you gotta pray Shanghai's on in that tournament.
Or just go and fight and lose anyway, just so that you can say, "Oh, I fought against this player or that player."
Koichi and Sonic Fox's rivalry was also very legendary. I remember there was like that one Evo Grand Finals where Koichi beat Sonic Fox, and he was riding such an emotional high, he actually broke down into tears. It was actually kind of cute, actually.
Aww.
And Sonic Fox was just like cheering him on. It was cute.
Aw, that's always nice.
Yeah.
Like, you can have the most intense battle, but it's always great when you can get along with your opponent and have fun with them anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is something that I always try to remind people of with moments like that, rather than have them just keep thinking, "Oh, Tabby, I want to play fighting games against you. You're just gonna beat me." It's like, bro, I just want to have fun.
I think that's why it's great when we reach that level where we can just play at that like sort of like at that level. It's like by the time we played at that level, we've already been to the grind. We've already eaten more L's than we can count. So just like win or lose, we all just take it on the chin, right? And wait, Sonic Fox and Perfect Legend, that Mortal Kombat first to 10? Oh right, that went to first to third to 13. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I need to run. God, that thing was embarrassing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they still had fun anyway.
I don't know if Perfect Legend did. I think it went to the point. If I could be wrong, but didn't Perfect Legend straight up retire from fighting games in general? Like, it was like I think it was a grudge match. I think between those two that was like first to 10. Like, Sonic Fox beat him 0 to 10, and I forgot the exact context, but it's like. But it's almost stretched to 13, and
Right. Oh, Nashra says, I remember playing Strive against you, and in my brain, I was like, he's got to kick my ass. I mean, okay, yeah, even if you do think that and you're not feeling confident, no matter how skilled or inexperienced my opponents are, I'm always going to pat you on the back for at least trying and even praise you for whatever you learned or practiced or did. Yeah. Heck, even just robbing me of a perfect is going to be a huge achievement, because if I bleed, you can kill me.
Also, your first mistake was thinking in Strive. Nobody thinks in Strive. Hehe. I'm kidding. But yeah, I think like that's why when you play fighting games with people, and if you acknowledge the skill difference, it's important to set separate win conditions. Like as you mentioned, robbing people of the perfect, taking one round, maybe trying to read one habit. Like I think sometimes you don't always. It doesn't always have to be like, I need to win. Or I need to win. You know, you could just rework that. If you can mentally rework that mental condition to something else. Like let's say, oh, let's try to land this combo I've been practicing. But then win or lose, then I would consider that a win in my book. You know, and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people keep thinking in binaries of like, oh, like win, loss, perfect, or complete failure and all of that. But really, it's more like a gradient, especially when you see the spectrum of all the skills and techniques that people learn and execute and apply in different fighting scenarios. You know, like. You know, like you and everyone else that watches me, I always try to make that pretty clear, or you know, sometimes I forget, but I have to mentally and verbally remind myself, okay, I didn't get a perfect score, but at least I did this really cool thing on stream for everyone to see, so that's still a win.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like if people are so hesitant to get into fighting games, I really need to point people to like Core Gaming's videos, especially that one on how to reduce salt. That one is such a good video.
Honestly, that video that Core Gaming put out about salt, that ended up being way more helpful for me in my mental health than I realized, because you know, obviously we're our own worst critics. This doesn't just apply to fighting games, by the way. This applies to like art or cooking or anything we do, really, because we're up close with the work process, so we see where we could be better and all that. But for some reason, we tend to notice our shortcomings way more than you know, wherever we're actually good at. And I'll be honest, a lot of things that I'm good at, I don't really realize until people point that out to me, and then that builds me up, and it gives me something to be mindful of, and to be like, you know, maybe I am really cool after all, because I have friends who believed in me. I know that sounds like some funny anime shit that they spout, but we did just establish, like Zen says, that fighting games is the closest we got to real life anime.
Yep, got all the funny storylines. But I think it can't be understated just how much your mental plays a part in like fighting games. Like you can learn all the combos, you can learn all the matchups, you can learn all the setups, blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, come on, good night, Karai. At the end of the day, it's like your mental is the most important factor in fighting games. And like just because you take a lot of L's a day against someone doesn't mean you'll take it again tomorrow. Sometimes you can just have a bad day. It happens. Sometimes you also just be really tired and you're not playing at your best. That also happens. You know, it's like it happens. You know, like
shit happens, and you know, you could be you could still be your own worst critic, or you could be your own best friend and just remind yourself, like, hey, shit happens, but you know, you did this cool thing, and I'm still rooting for you. Yeah,
exactly. So you know, I think if there's people like hesitant into fighting games, the best advice I could ever give anyone is just take it slow, take it at your own pace. You're not gonna learn everything all on day one. Just work on it a little bit each day, and eventually you will get there. Or you know, not at all. I think like anybody can get into fighting games, but it is admittedly a time sink. I won't deny that. It takes a lot of time to get to that level, and people may not have that time, and that is fine. But try not to be too scared.
Yeah, that's well said, Zen. Really well said. And speaking as someone who got started with fighting games, well, seriously, anyway, 5 years ago, my mindset was that I wanted something to study and practice while being connected with a community where we're playing, you know, something like that. And you know, fighting games ended up being the perfect choice for me, because I want something to get invested in, build up my skills and character and all that. I didn't want to just level up a character and then just you know, like start fresh as someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing in another game. That's where something like fighting games comes in, where there is that legacy skill and knowledge, like you explained a little earlier, Zen. And yeah, not only that, I'm like building up like my personal skills and my people skills and my sense of sportsmanship, since you know, again, when you're playing 1v1, it's all on you and your opponent. You can't really blame anything else.
But yeah, I think that's why I'm kind of like pretty laid back when it comes to whole simple input, because it is part of sort of like reducing that skill floor. Because like like removing simple inputs means one less thing to learn, and so it's like makes it make it a little bit easier. But if there's any silver lining in all this, is that you pick up one fighting game, it'll be whatever fighting game you pick is gonna be your hardest one. Everything else afterward feels a lot easier in comparison, because there's some legacy stuff that carries over.
Yeah. And what Mary said earlier just now about how it feels like a commitment. Yeah, that is true.
It 100% is. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah, it's definitely a commitment. And if VTuber trends are anything to go by, not many people like commitment unless they like to build up stuff in gacha games. Like that's the only the type of commitment that I see people do. And well, okay, Zen, you play gacha games regularly, so you already know firsthand. And I used to play gacha games, so I understand that the whole time and stuff.
Yeah, I have a gambling addiction, so be it. It's like that's like one part of it, and there's also the fact that it rounds back to the part about the ego depletion. It's like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If you're starting out, especially at this point, you're gonna get your shit rocked a few times, and it's up to you if you want to persevere through that experience. It's like a baby. It's like a baby's first Souls game. You pick it up, you don't have no idea what you're doing, you're likely gonna get your shit wrecked. Then you make a decision on whether you keep going or you refund the game.
Yeah, not to mention that when someone picks up a fighting game and they don't take the proper steps to actually learn it, then obviously they're gonna get their ass kicked. Especially when there's a common misconception where it's like, oh, I cannot do combos, that's why I cannot be good at fighting games. Like, okay, yeah, well, that's fine and all, but the real reason that you guys suck at fighting games is because most of y'all forget to block.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, actually. Yeah, I think that's the main problem with people, that people don't know how to block. People don't know how to block, and like that's why they can't end up trapped in the combos themselves and end up being taken for the movies.
Yeah. Okay, so I have this theory where a lot of people are so used to video game enemies just letting themselves be attacked by the players, where they don't end up being conditioned to learn how to defend first before they can attack. And I'm very grateful that I played some fairly challenging games growing up. Like, yeah, sure, I was a baby playing Kingdom Hearts. I had a strategy guide on me, so I was never lost, and all I did was follow the instructions. But once I tried playing Castlevania 1, after seeing a playthrough and thinking to myself, oh, this looks easy, what could possibly go wrong? I got my shit wrecked. And yeah, but like, here's the thing though. When I remembered that someone played through Castlevania 1 like it was nothing, I had realized, okay, it can be done. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. And me being slow but also stubborn, I eventually reached a point in Castlevania 1 where I reached the second last boss, death. But yeah, but I got filtered right then and there. But I'm a stronger and wiser gamer now, so maybe I could try again and beat death and the entire game this time around.
Yeah, I think. Okay, I'm gonna be also straight, is that I suck at blocking. I hate blocking. I didn't pay $80 to block, and it's definitely one of those later things that I've learned on how to be more patient and block properly. So it's like that's like I actually never learned like how to properly like play defensively until like way later, and. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's kind of fine, and that's like the fun part about fighting games. Is that first off, having a good tutorial has always been an unsolved problem. Let's be honest. You go through any tutorial in a fighting game, you're a good chance you're gonna probably learn like 30% of it at best. But I think the fun part about it is the fact that you can grow however you want and wherever you like. You can choose where's your starting point on a mountain, and then work your way up from there. You don't need to feel pressure to learn everything all in the get-go.
Right, yeah. And And this kind of adds to one of the other things that I love about fighting games. It's that sense of individuality, whether it's your choice of characters, what costumes you pick for them, but also how you play them. Even if you play in a mirror match, you're going to get two completely different human beings that are going to apply different techniques based on their own experiences, what path they took to learn that character. And in a way, it's almost... Fighting games are like an RPG. You have that time commitment to build up, well, not a character with a spreadsheet, but yourself and what you do and what skills you learn and grind up. And not every build is going to be the same. And sometimes when you have a mirror match, it's like you have different subclasses that just happen to use the same character, you know?
Yep, I agree. I agree with you completely. It's like, I mean, you won't notice. I mean, you won't notice it, especially if, let's say, you're training against people who already played the game for 5 years, and like, for instance. But even if you are getting bodied, you are progressively learning, adapting, getting used to the environment, and like, you are leveling up. You just can't see the numbers.
Yeah. I guess that's why there are a lot of people where they prefer playing RPGs where they do see the numbers and progression, but in a fighting game, they don't see the progression. They have to actually feel it for themselves. And like you said before, you cannot teach people to learn to want to get good at these types of games or even notice their progress.
Like, the process of learning needs to be part of the fun. Like, if you're a person who only takes joy out of like just winning, winning right off the bat, then this I'm gonna be honest, this is probably not the genre for you. Because it's a constant feedback loop. Because let's be honest, I feel like if you're not gonna have like the fun from just like losing now, I don't think you're ever gonna have that enjoyment. Unless you're like really super crazy stubborn. Because that's what's gonna end up happening, is that you get your shit wrecked, you come back, learn some stuff, you beat the guy that get your shit wrecked, that's great. Now you move on, you find another guy that'll wreck your shit, and rinse and repeat basically.
Yeah. Honestly, whenever I look for a game that I want to spend a lot of time with, I always think, am I gonna have fun with this game even if I lose? And thinking back, I realized that not a lot of people think that way. Like, they're like, I hope you're not being stressed out, but like if you lose or something like that, like, bro, like I came here to learn and play and get better, not be babied and pampered with gold stars.
Unfortunately, I think that tolerance just got. I think that tolerance of taking losses somehow gone smaller over the years. I don't know what happened. I've been Fortnite, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm guessing that a lot of games have been made easier, and so a lot of people don't really feel encouraged to learn and practice and take the L's and then feel that sense of accomplishment. And so a lot of companies are thinking, oh hey, we should try and appeal to the casual market. And this sort of thing is way more noticeable around the late 2000s and onwards with when you see a bunch of games being mainstream, like Call of Duty or something like that, or all those movie-like games where they have these scripted things where they have people feel like they're doing something cool, but really they're just following the steps and going through a Disneyland ride.
Yeah, give them the happy brain chemicals.
Yeah.
I think at the point there's really not much that can be done. People are different, and people can define how they have fun in the game however they want. I think like even if the enjoyment is, let's say, just playing single player modes and all that stuff, that's fine, I guess. One thing I just personally dislike is just when people try to force that fun onto other people. And that's why I really find team-based games really annoying, because you always got that one egomaniac who's like throwing out, you gotta play this character. Hey, can you play this to work with this team? I'm just like, I'm like, this is cringe. This is hella cringe.
Yeah, this is why I usually like to play single player games where I can only decide that for a bunch of game characters that have no free will. But with other people, no. You're not playing them, you're playing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, some people suffer from this little thing called main character syndrome. And,
oh god.
I mean, you can't. At the end of the day, you can't confuse people like that. They just have some crazy mental gymnastics going on.
Yeah, like the world somehow revolves around them, and everyone is an NPC. Now, speaking as someone who's often described as having main character energy, and you know, I do embrace believing that I'm the main character of my own story. But here's the thing: this is a world full of many stories, and so I can't go around thinking that I am the face of an entire franchise. Like I'm basically part of a cinematic universe, and this right here just happens to be a crossover movie.
Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. It all circles back to Marvel.
Don't sue us, Disney. Anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Marvel? I mean, Blarvel. Marbell.
Naval.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. But still, yeah, guys, like, don't ever think that you're the center of the universe, because chances are there's probably 100 of you thinking the exact same thing, and then you're gonna fight over the spotlight, and by that point, no one is a hero.
Yeah, you guys, those guys can fight amongst themselves. I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah, Miles Morales says, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot wait for the next Spider-Verse. Oof.
Oh man, I am not sure when Spider-Verse 3 is ever gonna come out.
I heard that thing is going through production issues, but yeah, I hope it all works out at the end. I hope so too, guys.
Yeah.
No, the finale pays off because if it's hanging.
I hope so too. Until then, though, this might sound extreme to some people, I just pretend that Spider-Verse 2 doesn't exist when Spider-Verse 1 works as a standalone story. Now, some of you might be thinking, Tabby, Spider-Verse 2 is cool, and I fully agree. I really enjoyed that movie. However, if it's meant to be a trilogy and that trilogy is incomplete, while the first installment still stands strong on its own, then the sequel just feels useless.
Fair enough. Well, clearly all we need to do is wait for that trilogy to complete itself.
Yeah, once the trilogy is complete, then I'll change my tune and properly acknowledge Spider-Verse 2.
2026, is that what they said? They still got a year and a half-ish.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Although the studio that worked on that, they just put out K-pop Demon Hunters, and I have no idea how far they are into completing Spider-Verse 3.
I heard good things about that show. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my to-do list.
Oh, it's a movie.
Oh, it's a movie? K-pop Demon Hunter?
Yeah. It's just I think a couple of hours. I'm just remembering off the top of my head. It doesn't feel that long, but it's a fun movie. Highly recommend it, even if it's just for one sitting.
If it's animated who did Spider-Verse, sign me up. I didn't know about that part.
Yeah, like you have the Spider-Verse animators making one of the most popular movies ever, to the point where the songs made originally for that movie is already more popular than real life K-pop artists outside of the movie.
That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious.
It is. I mean, the songs are still great, don't get me wrong. In fact, the song How It's Done is one of my battle songs for when I'm playing Devil May Cry. I mean, go figure. Both of them are about hunting demons. But the fact that real life K-pop singers have to compete with cartoons, I fucking love that.
Let them cook.
Yeah, let them cook. Let them cook that KFC.
I love KFC. Oh god, it's already late. I'm getting hungry again. I really shouldn't. I'll make a note to get some on the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think this is probably a good spot where we can stop because, we've said a lot of good things. We had some fun. And
good.
we just encourage everyone to get some fried chicken and watch some K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, now that sounds like a movie night.
Fucking A. All right. Let's see here. I guess we'll go ahead and do this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first ever episode of Heroes Day Off, the Cross-Over Vtuber Podcast. I'm gonna go into the end screen and see who we can rate to, but Zen, do you want to give any closing statements before we end this episode?
Get some fried chicken.
Hell
that's
yeah.
It. And if you guys can get into fighting games, that's great. I'll be your best friend, but no big deal if you can't. I totally get it if you guys don't have the time.
Yeah. Anyway, allow me to remind you guys to follow me on my socials right here. Here's the rate message. And of course, don't forget to follow ZenNoKiseki himself right over here, because I did start this podcast to promote my friends and favorite creators. Yeah, no problem, dude. Anyway, I already found someone that we can rate to, so, oh shit, I didn't come up with the proper closing thing or whatever for, anyway, just the usual. My name is Arsen D Tabby, and this is Zen.
Oh yeah, sorry. ZenNoKiseki. Hi.
Yeah, and thank you guys very much. We'll see you next time. Good night, everyone, or whatever. Have a damn good time zone.
Take care.
We'll see you then.